Mike's hot boots on the ground, troops coming heavy with the no-nonsense sound. Ain't no filters, we break the mold. Stories hidden, swept away, now they're getting told. Spotlights hit, the tension pops. We ain't here for nothing but the real damn drops. We're busting bubbles, taking names, cussing and discussing, changing the game. No smoke, no mirrors, no curtain calls. Piss on the fire and call the dogs. Steel chairs, court stairs, backstage heat. Legends fall when we bring that beat. Voices sharp, we cutting right through. Best damn team, yeah, you know it's true. We ain't your daddy's play-by-play. We call it raw, we're here to stay. From bell to bell, win or lost. Shoot, don't care who signs the checks or calls the boss. Putting out fires, taking names, cussing and discussing, fueling the flames, standing tall when the last bell call. Piss on the fire and call the dogs.
Good evening, everybody. We are back one more time this evening, live and in living color. I am the Doctor of Professional Wrestling, Mike Blankenship, PhD. Alongside me, the excellence of elocution, Walter Dixon. You know, we just had a phenomenal conversation with two of the best, really best all-around people in the world.
I mean, they really are fantastic folks.
And truly like brothers to us, that being the grappling god Titan Troy and the bullies Bully Brock's Boulder Grappling Inc.
Yes.
But something happened today that I don't know what to say. This deserves its own. I mean, I take nothing away from anybody else. This moment truly deserves its own. And if you're reading the ticker on the bottom, today around 11:30, 12 o'clock, we lost Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
We are going to do a special Remembering Hulk Hogan episode tonight. This is not a conversation about Terry Bollea or the person that he was, so much as it is about Hulk Hogan and his contribution to the sport of professional wrestling.
And to that point, that it's not about Terry Bollea. It seems to me that the man made some mistakes. We're not glossing over that.
No.
He made some mistakes in life. He done a few things that people see as
he said some things that ought not been said.
Right.
I mean,
but the truth is, a lot of the people who will tell you, oh, Hulk Hogan, I hate Hulk Hogan because he done this or he said this. Those are the same people who will look you dead in the face and say, well, Chris Benoit is the greatest. You got to take what he done in the ring separate from what he done outside the ring. And they're hypocrites.
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing that out there right off the top.
Right.
So with that being said, we're not going to talk about what Hulk done outside the ring, what he done behind the scenes, what he done when he was at home or wherever. This is strictly what happened while Terry Bollea was Hulk Hogan.
Indeed. And like I said earlier today, July 24th, Terry Gene Bollea, known worldwide as Hulk Hogan, passed away at the age of 71 due to cardiac arrest in Clearwater, Florida. Just days prior, Hogan remained active, having signed a broadcast deal for Real American Freestyle Wrestling, proving that even in his final moments, he was still fighting for the business he helped to build.
Yeah. And say what you want, Hulk Hogan did help build. He was a founder. He was a capstone for the wrestling world in the 80s that still stands today.
I don't think that we would know professional wrestling as we know it today.
No.
Had it not been for not just Hulk Hogan, but Hulk Hogan and those like him.
Mm-hmm.
During that time when professional wrestling was transitioning from the I don't want to say carnival act, because
it had already moved beyond the carnival act.
Right, but it's one of those things that in some circles it was shunned.
Yes.
And still is, to some degree. But I'm going to quote Arn Anderson on this one and say, it's all right to be a wrestling fan.
Yes.
And, if it were not for Hulk Hogan, that may have not happened for a lot of people.
Well, it may not have happened for me. I was a huge Hulk Hogan fan as a child. I remember the very first thing I remember seeing was a clip of him beating the Iron Sheik.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I didn't know anything about global politics or anything that was going on outside of my little hole in the wall in Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
I had no clue. But I knew enough to know that this is the good guy and this is the bad guy. And the good guy won. And that good guy was larger than life. Hulk Hogan was probably my second hero. The second hero I ever had in this near 42 years of existence.
Gotcha.
The first being my grandfather, the second, Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, like I said, I didn't grow up so much watching WWE now. I was more a Jim Crockett fan.
Yeah.
But even as a Jim Crockett fan, when I'd go to the video store and rent wrestling videos, if there was a WWF video out,
mm-hmm.
I get it. I'd pay the $2 to rent that VHS tape, and I'd watch
at least 10 years. Who was on the cover of every single one of those videos?
8 out of 9 of the first 9 WrestleManias, Hulk Hogan main evented.
Mm-hmm.
That says something. That says something about, number one, his staying power.
Yes.
But the confidence of Vince McMahon to say, basically, this is your canvas. Paint your picture.
Yeah.
And we look at it as hokey and cliched now, but the whole, say your prayers and take your vitamins and all this stuff, but when you're a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid and you've got this guy out there who's jacked to high hell and, a physical specimen telling you this, you're like, that could be me one day.
Mm-hmm.
And you buy in.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's the part of professional wrestling. Get you in.
There's a reason that the first real foray into mass production wrestling action figures, Hulk Hogan.
Got a comment right here. I'm going to pop it up. And our good buddy. I always cheered against him, but he was so larger than life and such a hero, he made everyone watch.
Amen.
That's a fact, he did, and there's no doubt. And going forward, he, for some odd reason, I've always been drawn to the villains but what are villains without the heroes to oppose them? You're
Exactly.
absolutely right. I mean, you go back to the Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter, the Macho Man Randy Savage, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper in stages, Cowboy Bob Orton. To be a good heel, you got to have a good face. I mean, it's just my opinion.
The exact opposite is true. But Hogan was able to transcend. He moved through so many opponents that, and you give the opponents their due credit. Iron Sheik, Sergeant Slaughter, Andre, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, Piper. You move through his opponents, and it's a list of who's who in the wrestling world. But my goodness,
even into the late 90s in WCW, you still had that who's who list.
Ric Flair, Sting, Roddy Piper again,
the Giant.
Yep.
I mean, it was a who's who indeed, and a part of our childhood
Nicholas
now
Little,
is
Kurt Hennig. There you go.
Is
I'll
gone.
throw that out there.
Kurt Hennig, yes.
Even though that was
could have been
whatever, but
so much more. Could have been so much more, but
so,
no.
We said we would talk about what he done for the business.
Let's talk about what he done before the business. Before he became a professional wrestler and a great showman that he was a standout baseball pitcher whose career shifted toward music and bodybuilding after injuries. He was discovered while playing bass guitar in a band and soon entered the ring under the rigorous training of Hiro Matsuda, famously having his leg broken in his first session to test his resolve, the resolve that never wavered.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, indeed. Right here, he makes another point.
Bundy,
yes, Bundy, John Tenta. There are so many names. We could sit here all night naming names that went up against Hogan, and even the ones that never really got the run. Could you imagine WWF had they actually went with Hulk Hogan and Jake the Snake Roberts?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about Hogan and The Undertaker. I mean,
yeah.
But Hogan and Jake would have been completely.
Well, it was a complete separation there.
Yeah.
That you see Hogan is this very outspoken, out front, loud, boisterous personality. He played on the psychology of raising the crowd. Jake was that deep, gravelly voice, but it was very soft spoken. He never raised his voice. He played on the psychology of causing the crowd to withdraw. And that contrast would have been so beautiful played out in the ring.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Hogan's larger than life career, his persona electrified arenas across the globe. Talk about the organizations he was a part of. He was a part of AWA. He was a part of the WWF, WCW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and TNA.
Yep.
He headlined, like I said earlier, 8 of the first 9 WrestleManias, slamming Andre the Giant. They talk about it being the first time that Andre was ever slammed, which we know was not.
Right. It's not the case.
But needless to say, to be able to do that, because at that time, number one, Andre was big, and he wasn't in the best of health.
Right.
But he was willing to do whatever it took. And he knew the power of Hulk Hogan, the staying power, the drawing power of what could be to put him over.
Yeah.
And Hulk talked about that. I was actually, when I was driving up here, I was watching an interview that he had done. I can't remember who it was with, but he was talking about slamming Andre. He said, and if you watch that video, Andre loops his arm over Hogan's head and he puts his hand on his knee to post up. He said, but when I got him up there, he said, it was me turning him. Right. He said, and that was the most difficult thing. I think he said he blew his biceps out doing it. But, you know, that moment actually is the moment truly that launched Hulkamania.
It is.
I mean, and made him that household name.
That's the moment where that wasn't Hogan putting Hogan over.
No, it wasn't.
That was Andre putting Hogan over. And everyone who knew anything about wrestling at the time will tell you that if Andre didn't have that faith in you, if Andre didn't trust you to have that, you weren't going to lift him.
No. If he didn't want to go up, he wasn't going up.
Right. And Andre was, you know,
I mean, who was going to shoot on him?
Yeah, exactly. Even at that stage in his health, that stage of his life,
have done it.
If you didn't want to slam Andre, all he's got to do is drop his center of gravity, and you're not picking him up. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think John Cena himself could have done it.
Well, no, but I also don't think. Maybe 500 kilogram deadlift Eddie Hall could do it. Maybe Eddie Hall at that state, but that's about it.
I really and honestly do not know. But, you know, tell you what, run through Hogan's accomplishments.
I'm going to run through his championships, milestones.
No particular order.
Yeah. So, Hulk Hogan, 6 times WWF WWE Champion.
And forgive me, we are live. I don't really care.
The very first time he won, the first of his 6, was in 1984 versus the Iron Sheik. The sixth and final was in 2002 versus Triple H. One time WWE Tag Team Champion with Edge, which surprised a lot of people, actually.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble winner, first ever to win consecutive Royal Rumbles, 1990, 1991.
You realize something?
What's that?
The first Royal Rumble, if I'm not mistaken, and I may be wrong, somebody out there shoot me, was in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
That was Hacksaw Jim Duggan won that. Hulk Hogan won the second and third back to back.
Yep.
That's saying something coming out of the gate. I mean,
Hogan also held the WCW World Heavyweight Championship 6 times. His longest title reign.
Actually, he holds the longest title reign in WCW history.
Yeah. His longest title reign, started July 17th, 1994 at Bash at the Beach, where Hogan defeated Ric Flair. He finally lost that title October 29th, 1995, almost a year and a half later, at Halloween Havoc, where he lost the title to the Giant via disqualification, though the title was later vacated due to the controversy. Main evented Starrcade, 1994, 1996, 1997. He was truly the standout star of the AWA from 1979 to 1983, which actually is kind of where the Hulkamania era began. He is the original IWGP Heavyweight Champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was NWA Southeastern Heavyweight Champion 3 times. MSG Tag Team winner 1982 and 83 with Antonio Inoki. Was a movie star. Rocky 3, Thunder Lips.
Thunder Lips is here, baby, in the flesh.
Suburban Commando, No Holds Barred, Thunder in Paradise. You forgot Mr. Nanny.
What was the other one?
There was a few others, actually, but there you go. he had a reality show in the reality show era of the early 2000s, early mid 2000s. Reality show icon, Hogan Knows Best, 2005 to 2007. An entrepreneur in every sense of the word. Real American Beer, Real American Freestyle Wrestling, both founded in 2025 this year. WWE Hall of Famer twice, 2005 as an individual and 2020 as a member of the NWO. Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame inductee in 2003. Catchphrases, what you gonna do, brother? And let me tell you something, Mean Gene. I mean, if you don't know those catchphrases,
It resonates.
It almost hurts me to think that we will never hear those again. He defined pop culture in the 80s and 90s. He faced personal and public controversies later in life, but he remained a generational figure. His personal life, he was married 3 times to Linda Claridge, Jennifer McDaniel, and Sky Daly, father to Brooke and Nick. He maintained a relentless passion for the wrestling industry to the very end of his days. Hulk Hogan wasn't just a wrestler. He was a movement. From body slamming giants to headlining stadiums, he turned wrestling into a global phenomenon. His passing marks the end of an era, but the legacy of the man behind the 24-inch pythons will live in immortality.
You know, I don't care whatever iteration of Hulk Hogan you remember. My iteration of Hogan that will always be in my mind is the red shorts, yellow knee pads, yellow boots, and that tank top.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Hulk Hogan for me. And, you know, like I said, I wasn't a WWF fan per se, but I did know who Hulk Hogan was.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the commercials.
I can verify that you had multiple Hulk Hogan.
I did. I had
figures,
multiple Hulk Hogan
the
action
Battle
figures.
Buddy.
I've still got one that I know of somewhere in that basement of the house. I actually saw it the other day when I was downstairs doing something. But no, it's, you know, it's crazy to think that, and you touched on this earlier, we'll never hear him again.
Yeah.
You know, professional wrestling is, and we say this every time we do a show, most of the time, it's losing ground every day.
Yes.
In the fact of the matter that the veterans that shaped the business are slowly fading away. They're dying.
I've said this. It feels like I've said this 1,000 times on this show. We have come to that age in life where the heroes and villains of our youth are leaving. They're passing away. And it's become sort of, you expect it from some. You see that their health is declining, and you know, because their family has said that they're not doing well, or you know, social media has given us a little insight into their personal lives that we didn't have when we were children.
No, we didn't ever know this.
Even though Hulk was 71, and even though there had been some rumors that his health was on the down, you know, on the downswing.
Yeah.
It's still come as a shock this morning when you shoot the message out, I'm getting word Hulk Hogan has passed.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, my goodness. I've just seen where he was working with Jimmy Hart and with Eric Bischoff on getting this new thing rolling with this All-American Wrestling, whatever it was, Real American Freestyle Wrestling. And I think he was just a few months ago. He was on television. He was on Raw. And he got a horrible response from the crowd. I mean, for Pete's sake, that's the man, and that really made me mad that night. I understood why everyone done that, why so many done that, but I still, I was angry because so many of those people fail to realize they would not be watching that.
No, they
if it
wouldn't be
had not
sitting there.
been for Hulk Hogan.
No, had Hogan not had the career he had, I don't think that the WWE would have lasted as long as it did.
It wouldn't have.
I mean, he is living proof.
It may have well lasted, but it never would have become the global force that it is.
I don't think so.
The WWF may have remained a northern or northeastern territory in the wrestling world.
I don't think
WCW might have taken them over, and we would see WCW. Look, you never know.
It's a 22. What ifs?
Yeah, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a pocket full of trail mix.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to say what would have happened, but what did happen was Hulk Hogan carried the wrestling world on his back for 20 years.
That is a fact. And, last week you sat down and you took into yourself your storytelling.
Yeah. I put my creative writing.
You put your creative writings into work, and you come up with a good one.
I wrote a story about how Hulk Hogan.
Oh no, I was going back to the story prior.
Oh, the story prior. Okay. Yeah. Last week on the show.
Yeah, last week on the show. Speaking of that one though, but I told you that it was so good. I think you ought to do it again.
Yeah.
And you did, and we come up with 3 random people in professional wrestling to write a story about, and so you did it.
Yeah. So basically, the Doc and DJ ALX are sitting in the living room with me, and I'm like, okay, guys, give me 2 or 3 names of names from the wrestling world, and the names I was given were Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Hart, and
David Crockett. Which one don't belong, guys?
Right. But you got these 3 guys, and then I said, okay, give me a scenario. What are they doing?
What was DJ ALX come up with?
I don't remember. It was something
about, I can't remember, but you wrote the story.
Something, I forget exactly how he said it now, but it was something about wrestling with cows or cow tipping, something.
Something along those lines.
After a little bit of snowball, we come up with these 3, David, Jimmy, and Hulk, are trying to write a pilot script for a TV show that Hulk is going to star in. And we're somehow going to fit the cows into this.
Would you do me a favor?
What's that?
I mean no disrespect.
No, this is all in
immortal Hulk Hogan.
No.
But in honor of Hulk, would you be so kind as to indulge us with that story you wrote?
I think I will. So The title of this is Hulk, Crockett, and Jimmy, the Lost TV Show. One hot, sticky evening in the heart of Marietta, Georgia, three legends found themselves gathered in a cramped, dimly lit bar. They weren't there for anything glamorous. There were no cameras, no entourages, and definitely no red carpets. Just a bar with a couple of warm beers and a desperate need for some creative genius. David Crockett, the rugged wrestling promoter turned accidental TV writer, was at the center of it all, scribbling away on napkins. "This is it, boys," he slurred, looking up with the wild eyes of a man who just discovered the meaning of life. Or maybe he just had too much bourbon. "This is going to be the greatest TV series ever made. And Hulk, you're the star. We're going to call it Hogan's Heroes." The legend continues. Hulk Hogan, seated across from Crockett, nodded with his signature grin, mustache a twitch. "Yeah, brother, and it's going to have me doing some big moves and flexing and saving the world. Also, a ton of hot dogs. I love hot dogs. I'm thinking a giant hot dog monster, maybe a hot dog villain. I don't know, brother. You tell me. I'm just here for the fun." David raised an eyebrow, looking over at Jimmy Hart, the mouth of the South, who had been unusually quiet, nursing a half-empty glass of whiskey. Jimmy had always been more of a talker than a drinker, so everyone knew something was up. "Pardon my Jimmy."
Go ahead.
"I got it, boys," Jimmy suddenly blurted out, slamming his drink down hard. It half splashed out on the table. "What if, wait for it, Hulk, baby, Hulk doesn't just fight villains. What if Hulk talks to cows?" He paused for dramatic effect. "I mean, think about it. You're in a field of cows, right? You can do the signature Hulkamania pose. And the cows, they just moo back at you." David looked at Jimmy like he'd lost his mind. "You're telling me Hulk Hogan is going to have a philosophical conversation with a herd of cows? That's your big idea?" But before Jimmy could elaborate, Hulk slammed his fist on the table, causing the whole thing to shake. "Brother, that's genius. I do love cows. I've been to a farm once, and I swear there was one cow that looked me in the eye like it knew the meaning of life. I think I can have a deep conversation with those cows. It's going to be a real emotional journey, brother." Jimmy nodded, proud of himself. "Exactly, and you can flex and do all that. Like, you flex your biceps and the cows start moving. Maybe one cow even becomes your sidekick. We'll call him Sir Moo a lot." The three men stared at each other for a long, awkward silence. Then Crockett took a swig of his drink and nodded sagely. "It's weird, but I think this could actually work. We could get a whole season out of it. Hulk's journey of discovery, of being able to talk to cows, maybe even solving farm-related mysteries. We'll have cows with secret powers." Hulk's eyes lit up. "Brother, like the cow is secretly a ninja. Cows, ninja cows. That would be awesome, brother." The trio continued to brainstorm well into the night, fueled by a variety of questionable decisions involving whiskey, more whiskey, and at least 2 rounds of cow-themed bar snacks. By the time they'd finished their pitch, they were so drunk that Crockett's napkin was covered in nothing but chicken scratch and gibberish. They hadn't written anything coherent, but by God, they had ideas. The problem was, they were so drunk they couldn't even remember where they'd parked their rental car. And that's how, with all of their brilliant TV ideas in their heads and no car to drive home in, they found themselves wandering through a cow pasture in the middle of Marietta, Georgia. "I think we're lost, brothers," Hulk mumbled, rubbing his eyes, his mustache now slightly askew, giving him a confused yet comical look. Jimmy Hart stumbled a few feet ahead. No, I think we're good. There's a farm. There gotta be a farm somewhere here. We're testing the concept, man. Yeah, baby, testing the concept. Getting in touch with the cows, David Crockett, still holding on to his napkin with dear life, though it was now smeared with his drink, squinted into the darkness. "We're going to need a bigger story arc. This cow thing might be a little too deep for TV. Agreed, brother, said Hulk, pulling up his sleeves and dramatically staring at the stars. But you know what? Maybe the cows just need us. Maybe that's the secret all along. We're not lost. We're on a journey. Jimmy Hart, now sitting on the ground, petting a small calf that had wandered up to them, looked up with a dreamy expression. Yeah, we're like cow whisperers, boys. Yeah, baby, cows and us. We're one. Hulk stood tall, nodding slowly. All right, brother. I've had enough of cows for one night. Let's get out of here and start our real work. Hogan's Heroes, the Cow Whisperer. David Crockett, still squinting at his napkin, finally nodded in agreement. All right, I'm in. But next time, we're pitching this sober. And so the three of them mumbled off into the darkness, arm in arm, forever bonded by their strange cow-filled drunken adventure in Marietta, Georgia. And somewhere, deep in that pasture, a lone cow mooed.
I just hope Hulk's somewhere up there listening.
I hope, my only hope is that Hulk would have got a kick out of that.
I have no doubt in my mind Hulk would have got a kick out of it. I honestly do.
Because, like I said, he was probably the second hero I ever had in life. The first being my grandfather, and the second was Hulk Hogan.
Larger than life.
I fully respected what the man done for the business. I didn't always agree with what he done in his personal life, like many of you.
Yeah.
But I do think that...
Look here. We got a fan. I agree with you. I completely agree with you 100%.
So I really just think that, on this, just hours removed from the passing of the Immortal One, and that's a sad phrase right there, that we truly honor the life and legacy of Hulk Hogan. So, I don't know, Doc. What do you?
Like I said, I mean, there is no doubt in my mind that had it not been for Hulk Hogan, for me a lesser extent, for you more, but Hogan, Piper, Warrior, Savage, Hennig, we can sit here and name names all night.
Yeah.
We'd have never had a love for the sport.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know.
We wouldn't be doing Cussin and Discussin talking about this.
No.
We wouldn't be doing wrestling commentary for Elevate Pro Wrestling, for FTC's Art of Grappling.
We wouldn't have met. There's two people on the screen right now that have made comments here.
Yeah.
That we would not have met.
No, that's absolutely the truth. I mean, we'd have never met them.
And love them both. I mean,
one we might have met because of his job. The other one, we'd have never met you.
Yeah.
But we are blessed beyond measure to have met both of you.
Lori, Nick. I mean, yeah. What if we had never found wrestling?
The only way we'd have met Nick is if we'd have went to prison.
Well, we might have ended up in jail. I mean, who knows?
Hell, no doubt about it.
I mean, just less than an hour ago, we were talking to Brox and Troy about, some of the stuff that they've done for some of these young guys that have come into Art of Grappling.
That's it.
To train. And, wrestling we got into some trouble growing up. We got into some pretty.
We were good at what we done.
Stuff, wrestling truly may have kept us from
You
or
know,
going too far.
yeah, very well could have. I mean, because at least, well, Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday,
Yeah.
for at least an hour minimum,
Yeah.
we was watching professional wrestling.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
that's 3, 6, and 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, 9 hours out of a week. We at least was contently.
And to be perfectly honest, I was watching, gosh, on Monday nights in the mid 90s, mid to late 90s, I was watching as much of 5 hours of wrestling as I could.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we didn't have
No, we were
DVR,
flipping back and forth.
We were flipping back and forth. I always watched the first hour of Nitro, and then I'd switch over to Raw and watch Raw. But then sometimes I'd get, always switching back and forth. When one would go to commercial, I'd switch. Most of the time it was on commercial too, but
Listen,
you always tried to switch back and forth to catch as much of either as you could. And man, it was.
When I bought a TV after that old Sanyo went out, the black Sanyo, when I got the RCA,
Yep.
and I seen that remote control, there was a go back button on it.
Yes.
And I probably burnt the go back button up more times than I did the volume button on
wore the go back button out. It does not. It
wouldn't
after
work.
a month,
I mean,
it had no letters on it. You didn't know.
You
If a
just hope
stranger come in your house, they had no clue what that button was.
No, but you knew what it was.
Yep. You knew that was was Monday night button.
I'm gonna read. I've got, we're just a few hours removed from the passing of Hogan, and already there are some comments, quotes that have come out from some of his colleagues in the wrestling and sports industry. What was it here? Hold on, I'm looking. I'm gonna pull this up. I'd always had to be a.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, imitation. We all did it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't care who you are.
You think I haven't hit every single one of my brothers and cousins with a leg drop in the middle of the hardwood floor?
Big boot. Might not been able to get it up as high as Hulk did, but
I mean, I've hit that big scoop slam, and I've hit that leg drop. Every single one of them have felt that. But somehow, even at 5, 6, 7 years old, I knew enough from watching Hulk Hogan to put that little bend in my knee, and that bend went right over top of their neck.
Yeah, you pay attention.
But I knew enough at 5, 6, 7 years old that I could hit that leg drop, and the adults in the area thought I'd killed them.
Yeah.
But,
knew what you was doing.
Yeah.
But we do. We have some comments out here that I'll read a few. You can read a few if you want.
Yeah.
I'm going to start off with a comment from the Nature Boy Ric Flair. I am absolutely shocked. Hulk has been by my side since we started in the wrestling business. An incredible athlete, talent, friend, and father. His daughter Charlotte issued a statement. When I nearly lost my dad 8 years ago, one of the few people who was there for all of it was Hulk Hogan. My heart breaks for Nick and Brooke. This one from Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I've always loved my brother Terry. I only wished we had time to mend our broken friendship before this passing.
And that's one
that's heartbreaking.
Because we know because of this era of social media, and this era of having so much access to so much of history, we know that Brutus and Hulk were literally best friends for years and years. And they had a split. They had a falling apart. And for Brutus to say, I only wish we had time to mend our broken friendship before his passing, that to me, I feel that is a very heartfelt
Absolutely.
quote there, because from what I've seen of Brutus, when he did mention Hulk in his Dark Side of the Ring, man, he really wished that he could have mended that with Hulk. You could see it in his face.
You know, I don't know what the situation was, and you know, it's heartbreaking to read those words.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and take Jake the Snake Roberts here. He may be gone, but his memory and legacy will live forever. That is a fact.
Yes.
I don't care. Like I said, we ain't here to talk about Terry Bollea tonight. Terry Bollea was just a man. Just a man. Maybe a piss poor one at times. Maybe a good one at times. Ain't got nothing to do with this. Ain't got nothing to do with us. Ain't got nothing to do with the sport of professional wrestling. But when he was Hulk Hogan, when he was in that ring, every night, he gave you 100% of everything he had.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take the rest of
it. The next one, I want to preface with, for my money, for my personal feelings, is one of the funniest moments in wrestling history, bar none.
Yeah.
When you have Hulk Hogan and The Rock standing in a room, and they're talking about what's going to happen tonight, and Kane comes in, and The Rock's doing his thing where he's lunging at Kane, and Kane's not flinching. And Rock says, so what are we going to do? And he's giving Hulk
that's the cue. You know, you need to do this.
Hulk starts to give his, what you going to do? And Kane rips in out of nowhere. What you going to do, brother, when the millions and millions of screaming Hulkamaniacs and the millions and millions of the Rock's fans and thousands of screaming Canaanites run wild on you. You know,
Hulk and Rock look at each other
like,
go,
and you know, then Kane slaps Rock and Hogan on the chest and walks off, and
they're just like,
their minds were blown, and that leads to this. Kane today, it was easy to do a Hulkster impersonation when, like millions of guys my age, I'd practiced it in the mirror thousands of times growing up.
Absolutely.
How many of us have done that?
Guilty,
I mean,
guilty as sin.
John Cena posted a photo of Hogan in the ring. No caption, just respect. Sylvester Stallone, star of the Rocky series, where we've seen Hogan play Thunder Lips. Rocky III. Sylvester Stallone said he was absolutely wonderful. His amazing skill made Rocky III incredibly special. My heart breaks, as do the hearts of millions.
That's fact.
Of Hulkamaniacs. Mark Marrow said he was more than an icon in the ring. He had a big heart and a genuine desire to help others. Mark Marrow was once a bit of a diva in the ring, backstage, had a lot of demons, a lot of skeletons, and he turned his life around, has spent the last several years talking to kids and recovering addicts all over the country. And he said that Hogan had a big heart and a genuine desire to help others. So that's saying something. the WWE released a statement. One of pop culture's most recognizable figures, Hogan helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s and TNA wrestling. Hogan's name was synonymous with professional wrestling, transcending the industry to become an American pop culture fixture.
You know, I wish to God, do we have access to the Ted DiBiase? Do we have the written?
I can get it.
Yeah, find out what Teddy had to say, and he had a statement out that it was beautiful, and you know, Hulk was definitely thought of across the board. Um, his colleagues, his fans, his friends.
Yeah, here it is.
And if you would please
So,
read the $1 Million Man
today,
or rather Ted DiBiase.
we actually seen the video of Ted DiBiase, and you can go look it up. He posted it on his Twitter, but it was on Facebook's when we seen it.
Yeah.
It's on X, it's on Facebook, it's probably on YouTube and whatever else by now. But this is the transcript of that video. Today, the wrestling world lost an icon, but Ted DiBiase lost a very good friend. Hogan was the man. Way back when Vince McMahon Sr. gave the ship over to Vince McMahon Jr., his first big star was Hulk Hogan. The last match I had, the first time I went through the New York territory, was in Madison Square Garden against this new guy called Hulk Hogan. Vince McMahon Sr. came to me and said, Ted, we got high hopes for this guy. We'd like you to really get him over. And I did. Let's fast forward several years after that match. Hulk Hogan came to me and he said, thank you so much, buddy. And he said, I owe you one. So fast forward, now Hulk has become the man. I mean, you know, it's like the first action figures and all that stuff, it was Hulk Hogan. And I mentioned that a little bit ago, but it come from this. He was the guy. He was the superstar of wrestling. And when I went back to New York, when it was now much bigger, all over the country, the first time he walked up to me in the dressing room, shook my hand, looked at me and winked. And he said, it's payback time. Buddy, it's payback time. And after that, oh my gosh, I wrestled in main events with Hulk Hogan. I tag teamed with André the Giant. Not only was he a good wrestler, he was a great guy and a man of his word. The thing that I remember most about Hulk today is this. There came a time in his life, just like in my life, where he understood that without Jesus Christ in his life, he had nothing. And he became a Christian. Just like Hulkster, I have become a Christian as well. I just would like to say this. Hulk, I know you're with the big man upstairs, and one day we will meet again. I love you, man, and I miss you.
You know, that right there truly sums it up.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, it honestly does.
By the way, when you watch that video, you can see Ted is he's feeling the emotions of Hulk's passing right away. But down near the end of the video, when he's talking about him turning his life over and Hulk turning his life over, he really got emotional. He was very, very teary-eyed.
He was indeed.
So there's a lot that went into that particular quote, but again, I'll go back to this. We see and hear people talk about Hulk done this, Hulk said this, Hulk. Understand all that. And none of that is is glossed over. But you see these people, so many of them, saying he was a great guy, he was a nice guy, he helped me get to this point, or he done this, or he kept his word when he had become this superstar, and he didn't have to stick to his word at that point, but he had made that promise and he stuck to it.
You know, you always hear the horror stories of that don't work for me, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, maybe it didn't. I look at it this way. At least he had the ass to stand up and say it.
Yeah.
Is what it is, but
Well,
hey, two ways to looking at everything.
Look, Hulk
Maybe
had made his mark on the industry.
That he did.
And maybe at that point in his career,
Maybe he just passed it.
He wasn't ready. And we've seen this with the likes of Ric Flair and others, when their time is pretty much over.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to give it up.
That's a hard thing.
It is a hard thing. When you've been the man, the guy, when you've been on top of that mountain for as long as some of these guys had been, it's tough to give it up. Not everyone can just lay it down and walk away. We've seen a handful.
And we've also seen those that try to ride it like a dying horse.
Yeah. They will whip it till it just absolutely collapses.
Or it staggers around.
But
at least
maybe Hulk was being a little unreasonable at times in his backstage affairs. Maybe he was. I will grant you that he was probably being a little unreasonable.
Maybe.
But if you look at history, at the people he did allow to go over on his watch, they became true superstars.
That indeed.
And maybe that's what he was waiting on. Maybe he was just being picky the way Andre was picky.
Possibly.
And then you couple that with a little bit of that not wanting to give it up. But we all know the story of Hulk didn't want to take the tombstone. They convinced him to take the tombstone. Undertaker hits him, and he's holding him good. He makes sure he doesn't spike him. And as soon as Undertaker hit his knees, Hulk said, "Oh, you got me, brother." And Mark Calloway goes back and watches the film, and he's like, I didn't touch your head. Your head
and 2 inches off the mat.
And he goes to Hulk and he says, I didn't let you touch. And Hulk says, well, you were holding me too tight. It caused my neck to, extend.
Yeah.
And, Undertaker's going,
whatever.
That was one of those moments where you go, yeah, that was Hulk being Hulk. I don't think that was Hulk being Hulk. I think that was Terry Bollea not wanting to give this guy his spotlight just yet.
Yeah.
And
we see it time and time.
We see it time and time again.
And you know something though, somewhere out there may never be another Hulk Hogan.
No.
But there's a lot to be learned from the 40-plus year career that Hulk Hogan had. And I'm not talking about just the good. I'm talking about the bad, too. You learn from the bad.
Yeah, you learn from mistakes just the same as you learn from
That's fact.
correct ways. So we have to take the good with the bad in the life of Hulk Hogan. And for me, I would say every wrestler out there needs to watch the way Hulk acted in the ring, the way he portrayed himself, and
watch the promos.
Watch the promo.
I
Oh
mean,
my goodness,
God,
watch the promos.
Listen, they say Hulk wasn't a great worker in the United States, and that's to be argued. That's another day, people. We ain't got that much time on our hands. But the fact of the matter is this: you cannot take away from his promo and his ability to talk and to convince you that he is the dirtiest son of a gun in the world. Remember when?
Not only
Was it
that,
Bash? Was it Bash '94? When no, it was not. It was Bash '96 when they're trying to figure out who the third man was, and Hogan comes down the aisle, and
you think he's going to save Savage from the outsiders, and
nobody ever thought he's the third man.
But you can look at Hulk. It doesn't matter if you're the good guy or the bad guy, if you're the baby face or you're the heel. Hulk Hogan done both and was literally the best at both.
Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. My friend, we have done 2 live episodes in one night.
I'm pretty wore out at this point.
I'm pretty wore out too, and we didn't get to say it when Brox and Troy was on there.
No, we didn't.
You know, and I kind of feel bad about that.
No, because we knew we were coming back, so
we wouldn't. It wasn't time to.
It wasn't time to piss on the fire and call the dogs.
Tell you what, it is now. For the excellence of elocution, Walter Dixon. I'm the doctor of professional wrestling, Mike Blankenship, PhD, saying to you, what you gonna do when the best damn commentary team in professional wrestling run wild on you? Until next time, folks, so long from the Bluegrass State.